DFW Health Entrepreneur Network. The purpose of this organization was to bring together physicians and other healthcare providers who take care of patients in the clinic or in the hospitals. We put them together with all the smart people, the technology folks, medical device experts, investors, and actually hospital executives. The purpose, the overarching mission of this organization was to expedite healthcare innovation and shorten the time if there's a research being done in a lab or in, say, an accelerator or incubator, bringing it closer to the patient side as fast as possible. And if you think about it, we have all these silos that exist. So physicians do their own little thing, they take care of patients, go home, make a lot of money, some of them, not me. And then you have all the technology folks behind the doors working on creating all these novel technologies. But rarely they talk to each other. So the mission of this organization is to kind of cross across, or almost create a cross-section of all these silos and create a seamless, horizontal platform, if you will, where people can talk to each other. So we launched this organization a year and a half ago, and when we launched this, I distinctly remember it was 6 of us, 4 physicians and 2 IT folks. And we had our first meetup event, and we had a few folks trickle in. Fast forward a year and a half, we have 350 members now. Several physicians, technology experts, we have hospital executives, so pretty robust membership. It's a free platform. I consider that one of my social entrepreneurship avenues where I can vent once I'm done taking care of my patients. But we realized this is also a very good opportunity to engage physicians to think outside the box, look outside of their clinical practices, and provide them an opportunity to speak with a lot of the healthcare innovation that occurs outside the industry. So that's in a nutshell what we do, who I am. I'm sure you're already networked amongst yourselves. If not, make sure you do afterwards. You'll meet a bunch of specialists, physicians, and other healthcare entrepreneurs. As an offshoot to what we did, we launched an online platform. It's called HealthEntrepreneur.com. I'll be happy to share a link with all of you, or you can send me an email. I'll be happy to talk about it. The purpose of that website is to take what we have done on ground in the DFW MetroPlex virtually. So pretty much go online and connect people from all over the country to talk to each other. We have had good experience so far. It's been 3 months since we launched, and we're already getting a lot of inquiries onto partnerships from physician groups, entrepreneurial organizations. So happy to share information with you all down the road. But to keep this concise, I know people need to get home on time. I would like to go straight to our speakers, and it's indeed a pleasure to have 2 of the veterans in their own industries. Mattingly, who has 25-year plus experience in real estate. He has worked with physician groups, and it's quite amazing. I was going through his bio. My plan was to actually make an introduction for him, but it's like 2 pages long, so I gave up on it. I'll let him speak for himself. But something that really struck going through his bio was that he's a martial arts expert. So he definitely wears multiple hats. So I'll let Eric introduce himself in a second. And then we have Terry, who's hiding right behind all of you, who flew all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. So thank you so much for being here, Terry. And he was able to partake all the election excitement on the plane last evening. I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you who you voted for. But I think it's about Arizona.
It's okay, right?
And he has a significant experience. He's a mechanical engineer by background. He worked in the aerospace industry for a while, then he transitioned into the medical device industry. He founded a company which is now one of the largest employers in Orange County called Applied Medical. He was one of the co-founders. That's something I'll ask you in private, how that experience was. But he's been through a lot. He has done some real estate himself, and now he's a founder of a nephrology startup a unique technology to control blood pressure and improve survival in patients with chronic kidney disease. We'll be very interested to hear more about that. So anyway, so without any further ado, I will give the platform to Eric, and let him speak about himself a little bit and educate us on some of the passive income streams, I guess, that I'm quite curious to learn about. So Eric.
Okay, how are you guys doing? Good, good. Well, I'm honored to have the opportunity to come here and talk to you guys for a few minutes. Try to keep the information to around 15 minutes and allow for questions, and share with you some of the things that I've done in business. I've been a serial entrepreneur all my life. I've pretty much almost never had a job. Became fascinated really with kind of carving my own path when I was a small child, starting with a lemonade stand. Went and put a lemonade stand on the street corner. My dad's like, you know, where do you want to? I said, I want to make some money. He's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to start a lemonade stand. He's like, okay, where do you want to do it? I'm like, well, there's a busy intersection over there, because I kind of gathered the concept at a young age that, you know, it's all about location, location, location with the business. Lemonade stand is certainly one of those things. And so from there, became fascinated really with just business, making money, and kind of settled on real estate when I was around 18 years old. And from there, really started off like a lot of people do and started investing in real estate, single family homes. Did probably, you know, I studied real estate investing from 18 till I was 28 years old before I actually did my first real estate transaction. The reason being is because the real estate investment education industry is very fragmented, meaning that, you know, there's really no support structure in place. You have a traveling seminar model, and, you know, you're trying to learn something that's very complex. You don't have people that are actually doing it there to support you and go and ask questions and so on. And so very, very challenging. Once I got to around 28 years old, I became active, meaning that I got tired of learning and I was ready to start doing. And so from, you know, starting at 28, over the next few years, I did about 30 single family transactions, wound up, had a nice time at mixed martial arts school, fought professionally, started getting serious injuries, and realized that, you know, if I stayed doing what I was doing, I fought professionally for about 4 years, that, you know, I might want to be paralyzed and be one of y'all's patients, you know, for the rest of my life. So at that point, I kind of made the decision that I really wanted to kind of expand what I was doing and went into real estate investing full time. So I've been doing real estate investing for quite some time. 2008 to present, we've done about $650 million in real estate transactions from all different kinds of real estate: single family, residential, commercial, condo projects, land deals, just all across the board. We're about to do a series of senior housing projects. Every one of these projects we wind up doing is its own business, and so I'm kind of in the business of organizing businesses, and that's one of the reasons why I guess Dr. Downey wanted me to come in and kind of share some of the concepts that we use in our own business to hopefully give you guys some information. So with that being said, let me kind of this thing on. I need to do it here. It wasn't the quick so I'll just use this. I'll just pull up my slide. So just a little bit about my background. This room we're sitting in is the Real Alliance. We actually had a frustration of the real estate investment education industry. We started our own real estate investment education company, which is called the Real Alliance. It's a community-based education company. This is our training room, and where we train investors that want to be active investors and learn how to go out and identify investment opportunities, how to go about doing that. And really, I was sharing with Dr. Gandhi before we got started, really what the Real Alliance is, we teach people entrepreneurship. We use real estate investing as the business vehicle in which to train people how to do that. But the concepts, the strategies, and everything that we teach, you can apply it to really any business. I used to work with, DMI, which is next door. And if any of you guys afterwards want to hang around, you know, have some drinks at the bar or whatever, we can go over there. But DMI is a real estate investment company where we actually organize and structure real estate investment opportunities. These are large-scale commercial projects, from, you know, multifamily condo projects to a wide variety of other things. for passive investors, people that have already accumulated some wealth and they want to start creating additional streams of income, and that's kind of the focus of what I'm going to be talking to you guys about. You know, a lot of the investors that I've worked with over the years, the number one biggest risk I've seen most business owners in and people that are employed is that their primary source of income, or most of their income, if not all of their income, is coming from one source. So whether that's your business, your practice, or your job, and not having enough income sources from other places. And so if you want to know if you are in a position of risk, you need to ask yourself, if you stop being a physician, or you shut your business down, or you lost your job, depending upon how you're organized, what happens from there? How long could you go, and does your lifestyle change much, if at all, or does it shut you down and you start losing homes and cars and things like that? The majority of the people, if their primary source of income got taken away from them, you know, they're shut down, and you start seeing these foreclosures, and that's kind of what's going on. A lot of people go into, you know, they get married or whatever the case is, it's a two-income household, and they don't ask themselves some stupid questions like, what if? What if this happens? What if that happens? What if one of us loses our job? Could we make these payments? Could we sustain our lifestyle with only one income? Because that's pretty common, that happens all the time. And what happens if we both lose our job? How are we going to meet our living expenses? And if that was taken from you and you didn't have that there and bad things started to happen, then it's a good idea to start looking at ways in which to generate income from other sources other than the efforts of your work. And so I used to work with individual investors all the time. I've probably put together, just me personally, a little over $80 million from individual investors over my career. And I was spending so much time trying to educate people one by one about all these various different investment concepts and strategies that they really needed to know. An educated investor is a good investor, which is our philosophy. And so I realized that I just didn't have the time to do that anymore, and so I created a workshop called Wealth Building Strategies. And some of the information that I'm going to be showing you is from one of those workshops called Multiple Streams of Income. So I started that, I think, back in 2010, and it was to be able to talk to people in a group setting versus a one-on-one setting to train them about some of the strategies that we were using. And I've been a full-time professional investor for a little over 15 years, so that is my business. That's what I do. I organize investments. Our company currently has done a little over $600 million in real estate transactions, a little over $100 million in private partner loans. And then really my expertise is in organizing and forming partnerships with the companies that we work with. So kind of the agenda here today. Just talk a little overview on traditional investing, the three biggest risks I see that doctors face, investing fundamentals, income-producing investments, and then also some investment strategies. One of the things that we want to try to impress upon everybody is that, if you're in business, and we work with tons and tons of doctors, we have about 400 passive investors right now, and I would say, at least 50 to 75 are specifically medical professionals, but we work with all kinds of professionals. And the problem is, because society and the school system doesn't teach financial literacy, as people start making money, and especially in industries where you make a lot of money, the more money you make, the more money you spend, you just keep increasing your living expenses. And so even though you're making a lot of money, you're really not creating and building wealth for yourself, because it's getting consumed with your lifestyle in most cases, not everybody's case. And so, with that, I really want to just kind of touch on a few basic things to keep in mind. And this is kind of what your regular traditional financial advisor is going to allocate your monies out into something similar to this. CD, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, real estate investment trust, have your IRAs, 401ks, and then your life insurance products, whether that be cash value life insurance policy or annuity. They're variable products that are being recommended to you because they're higher commissionable products, and all it is really is the financial advisors and the insurance company, or the insurance companies, want the securities industry in the insurance industry because it causes people to let their policies lapse and shut their annuities down and pay all these surrender charges and penalties because the money is volatile. So insurance products in your investment portfolio are supposed to play the role in your life with the G word that no investment has. An investment has no guarantees. That's why it's called an investment. Insurance products do have guarantees attached to them. And the other thing is, especially as medical professionals, You basically have a bullseye on your back for lawsuits and things like that, and you want to protect your assets. So a lot of doctors and other medical professionals will use annuities as a means, and life insurance, cash value life insurance, as a means in which to shelter cash so that can't be seized from the IRS, lawsuits, liens, judgments, creditors, those types of things. So it's an asset protection tool as well. And so the strategies that are being taught were based on initially the industrial age. Well, as you can see, once the industrial age ended and the information age began, investing in the stock market, especially through things like mutual funds, which is actually not an investment, it's speculation, then there's no rhyme or reason why your stock or bond or mutual fund goes up or down. It's just the buying and selling activity that's going on in the market. It's nothing to do with the fundamentals of the company anymore, because of the internet and the ability to trade stocks anywhere globally, sitting in your own kitchen or what have you. So the buy, hold, and pray strategy really doesn't work anymore. So the industrial age strategy doesn't work in an information age world. So what I always tell people is you need to change with the times or you die with the dinosaurs. The financial advisors and planners that are advising people how to invest their money are using industrial age strategies to advise their clients in an information age world. That's a huge risk to you because the financial markets have changed. The way you invest needs to change. The way you look at investments and how to make money has changed. And so those are some things that you should be aware of. What we try to talk to people about is having asset class diversification. So when you look at the traditional investment profile, you're pretty much all in the market, okay? And so you're really not diversified, although your financial advisor can tell you diversified. You're diversified in what they're allowed to sell you. That's what you're diversified in. To actually be diversified, you want to diversify over different asset classes. You don't have to diversify over all of these that I'm going to show you. However, you do need to have your money placed in places other than just the stock market. Cash, real estate, businesses, insurance products, stock market, and then there's other alternative investments like precious metals, oil and gas royalties, things like that. And so we focus heavily in two areas really on real estate and businesses as far as what our company, DMI, gets involved in and has investors participating with us on those types of projects. And I'll share with you just some real high-level stuff since we don't have a ton of time. When you're looking at businesses, there's different ways you can participate or be involved in a business, regardless of what the business is. It doesn't really matter. You can do startups, you can do franchise, you can do acquisitions or a buyout, you can purchase stock. The way most people participate in business ownership is through the stock market, whether it be through mutual funds or individual stock purchases. It is a way to be an owner in a business. However, you really have no control. You don't know who's running the company. You have no knowledge about it. And when you buy it, in most cases, unless you're a professional stock investor, that can make money whether the market's going up, down, or flat. If you want to know if you know how to invest, it doesn't matter what the market's doing. What the market's doing tells you how you should invest. That's what an investor does. And so with a mutual fund, you can't make money unless the mutual fund goes what? Up. That's it, okay, on a mutual fund. On a stock, you can. So the strategy, in my opinion, of owning a business, with direct ownership, whether you're going to do a startup and you're going to go and put your own shingle out there, or if you want to buy into a proven system, which is what a franchise is for, or you're going to buy out some existing business, may not be well organized, but there may be an opportunity to purchase something at a discount. You use your own knowledge about how you can add or create the value, which then brings the business revenue up. Whatever that is, the source of revenue that's coming to you, you either can consume it or you can go and use it. And so what I always tell people is the money that you make beyond your living expenses, you should give your money a job. Then as your money produces children, you give your money's children a job and so on, and that's how you multiply and grow your wealth and build your revenue streams. So a few risks I want to touch on just that I've seen. I've worked with a lot of doctors over the years and really kind of narrows down to kind of three main things that I've seen. The first one is just occupational risk. So if you aren't protected and you have your assets exposed, your business could be exposed, with malpractice suits, new laws that are changing, there's huge risk to people in the medical profession.
Collections?
Was that?
Collections?
Collections, yeah.
Collections. Excellent.
That's right. The law is changing, right, from the change of the laws. Number two is just poor investment strategy. So it's not just medical professionals, it's really, society as a whole. There is no training really out there that's just part of the way people are educated as they're growing up to teach them how to manage their money, grow their money, protect their money, not consume all their money. And so having a poor investment strategy is a big risk for really anybody. The planners in the public have it all backwards. So investing in mutual funds for the hope of capital gain is actually not investing, it's a form of speculation. It's kind of like saying, most of you guys live here in the DFW area, hey, I'm going to go buy a house in Frisco and it's worth 300 grand, I'm going to buy it for 300 grand. It's an investment. Okay, well, the only way you can make money on that deal is if the market goes up. Well, why are you doing it? Well, it's Frisco. Well, it's an appreciating market. Well, markets don't always appreciate. So even if you're in an appreciating market, California was an appreciating market, Arizona was an appreciating market, Las Vegas was an appreciating market until the bubble burst, and next thing you know, everything's 50 cents on the dollar. So that's not an investment strategy. A lot of people just roll the dice with their retirement, so they put their money in 401ks and they think it's somebody else's responsibility to just miraculously make sure that they're okay for their retirement. That's not the case. Nobody cares about your money more than you do. After 59 and a half, you convert to low interest income producing assets if there's anything left, so you can spend time with your children's children. I don't know about you guys, but I like spending time with my kids. I don't want to wait until I'm retired, basically, to then take whatever I've been able to accumulate, put it into some low interest bearing annuity at 3 or 4%. So for every $1 million you're making $30,000 or $40,000 a year. That's a significant amount of money for a very little amount of income. But that's the basic investment strategy that people are typically taught by financial advisors. So I always just ask stupid questions like, how much money did you personally make in your own personal investment strategy with what you're recommending to me? And when people are telling you to do something just because they have a fancy title next to their name, just because you might be a doctor doesn't necessarily mean you're a good doctor. There's good and bad in every industry. So with regard to how you're going to grow your money and where you're going to invest your money, you should just ask some really basic, fundamental, simple questions as to how well have they done for other people. Can you talk to some of those people that they've been working with? Why are they making this recommendation for you, and is that strategy that you're receiving similar to or different than the one they're using? How much earnings have they made on their own portfolio managing their own money? Because if they can't manage their own money, how are they going to effectively manage yours? Does that make sense? I've seen in the real estate investment education industry, people getting up in front of the room, like I am, explaining to people how to invest in real estate and go out and flip homes and all of these things that have never actually done a single real estate investment transaction. However, they can explain to you how to do it, but never have actually done it. So, be careful about that. So don't be a hostage to the system in your own money. And then the third thing is no income producing assets. So when I say the financial planners have it all backwards, most of the way people are taught to invest and grow their money is to invest in volatile investments, leave it there, hold for the long term, and then when you're retired, then convert it to income producing assets. The reality is having income from sources other than the efforts of your work that then can cover all of your living expenses is the definition of financial freedom. It's also a means of being self-insured. So you guys that are doctors, most of you use your hands, I would imagine, and so let's say you got in a car wreck and you were no longer able to use your hands, that would probably create a serious problem in your business. What if that happened? Well, if that happened and you weren't able to maintain your lifestyle that you're accustomed to without your practice or being able to do what you've been doing, we've got a serious problem. And so looking for and investing in income producing assets, there's nothing wrong with having cash flow today. You don't need to wait till you're 59 and a half to have income coming in from money that you invest. And so really, in my opinion, you should invest for income from many sources now until you have enough income to where it covers all of your living expenses, all of your lifestyle, not just your cost of living, but for how you like to live your life. If that's a $20,000 a month lifestyle, you need $20,000 a month in income from sources other than your work. So a couple of basics. These are just simple principles that we follow doing very, very large real estate strategies. Some of these projects we're doing are $20 million to $50 million projects. One of the things I like, I don't know if any of you guys are Warren Buffett fans, one of the things I like about Warren Buffett is he's one of, if not the most successful investor on the planet, and he follows some very, very simple fundamental principles. So, for example, Warren Buffett's rule to investing is rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, go see rule number 1. Well, you'd think that it'd be more sophisticated and advanced. My God, it's Warren Buffett, but that's really the bottom line. First and foremost, you don't want to lose money, because if you have a loss, if you have $100,000 and you lose 50%, you got $50,000 left. Just to get back to square one, you have to make a 100% return just to get your money back. This is after you've already lost money to taxes. So you first have a tax loss. You actually earned that money. It was taken from you. So when you receive your money, your first thing is to earn back the tax loss that you got hit with. If you then have an investment loss and you further compound that problem, now there's even more money, more time, and the chance that you ever even get back to square one, if even potentially losing all your money, is very, very high. So we follow some basic principles. We invest heavily in really kind of in these 3 areas. Real estate, private lending, this is asset-based lending. So I don't know if any of you guys ever done a loan to one of your friends? Raise your hand. Anybody ever done that? Don't be shy. I know everybody in here has done that. Okay. Was it a loan or was it a gift?
Yeah.
Okay. It started out as a loan, and then sometimes it turns into a gift, right? Then for you, it might turn into a tax write-off if you were smart enough to actually do a promissory note so you had some way to document it. But lending is actually one of the oldest forms of making money. It actually dates back to biblical times, and that's how people made money back in the old days. Real estate, there's different strategies, and then businesses. These are the 3 primary areas that our company focuses on. And with regard to real estate projects and even the private lending, we focus kind of in 2 areas. We do acquisitions, we do development. So an acquisition is, like for example, we're looking at doing this deal here that we're sitting in. The people that own this building, this whole development is this building, the building over there, the restaurant that they're building, and then Blue Mesa behind that. We're looking at trying to create a partnership with the group that's doing this building, that owns this building, the actual office next door, and then we would tear the other building down and do a high-rise condo development. That would be the project. So that project would be the example of an acquisition, and we would wind up doing part of this project would be a development project. So with acquisitions, you want to buy at a discount. With development, you're creating value where it didn't exist. So for example, if you were going to go and buy let's take Highway 121 in North Dallas Tollway. Let's say there was a 10-acre or a 20-acre tract of land over there, and it was worth $1 million. Would you ever pay $1.5 million for something only worth $1 million? It depends, right? It depends what your knowledge is. If you're a developer and let's say you're going to put something like, I don't know, an IKEA there, you might invest another $20 million, but you created or you added the value by the development. So development really is a means in which to add value, and you can purchase the land at a premium greater than what the value is, and that's how you get people to sell things that aren't for sale, because everything's for sale, it just depends upon what? It depends on the price, okay? And so that's how we do a lot of what we do, and then you recoup what you overpaid through the value that you're able to add through the knowledge that you have. So 2 biggest robbers of your wealth, we already kind of talked about this, investment loss and taxes, so I won't touch on that again. So there's 3 rules to investing. So investing is not supposed to be complicated, although the financial planners make you think it is, but it's just really not. So there's 3 basic rules we follow, and we do this whether it's a single-family fix and flip, or it's a $50 million apartment complex, or a senior housing project, or whatever we're going to get into. The first thing that we want to do is be able to protect the principal, and so we spend a tremendous amount of time, effort, energy, and money analyzing the people behind the project, and then analyzing the project itself to determine the feasibility to go to hit the numbers. So why do we do that? Because our fiduciary responsibility to our investors is, number 1, we don't want to lose their money. Secondarily, we want to be able to generate them a return. That's more than what you're going to be able to get out of most financial advisors, because they're putting your money into investment vehicles in most cases that are very volatile and go up and down, and they have no way to control that volatility. The second thing is to purchase at a discount. So if something's worth $100,000, I'm not paying more than $70,000. And if I'm going to have to pay more than $70,000, I'm just not going to buy it. Okay? And so a lot of people, what happens is they overpay. So that applies to anything. I don't care if you're buying a business, or if you're buying a home, if you're buying an apartment complex, whatever it is that you're buying, if you want to protect your money from loss. Because what happens if there's devaluation? if it's worth 100 and I buy it for 70, and the value declines by say 20%, I still haven't lost money. I've lost the gain that I had when I started. Does that make sense? So that principle applies to anything. And then create value. So I was giving you an example about development as a means in which to do that. That is all we do every time, over and over and over again. There's 4 primary investment strategies that you'll follow, and depending upon what it is that you're trying to accomplish, the investment is going to dictate which one of these that falls under. But you can invest for cash flow, capital gain, tax advantages, or asset protection. The financial advisors are going to mainly have you investing in things solely for capital gain. It's got to go up to have a gain, then you make money. Okay, there's also a means in which to invest for cash flow, so you have income. Anybody ever heard of Robert Kiyosaki? Okay, so this is a cash flow quadrant. So a lot of the folks that are professionals, like doctors, they're going to follow the S quadrant. You own a job. A B business means you own a system and people work for you. So for example, some of you guys probably may have investment interest in surgery centers or other kinds of practices. Well, if you're not in there on the day-to-day, you're involved in the B business. There's a system in place, and you're able to benefit financially without actually being inside of the place. I'm just going to skim through this because I don't want to consume too much time. But when you're investing, not only do you want to understand what the return is, but what kind of income is coming off of it, because it can also affect you in taxes. So this is just some of the different kinds of income based on the kinds of investments or ownership interest you have in whatever industry you're in. So with that, I'm going to wrap up and want to take a few minutes for some questions, I guess, Dr. Gandhi.
Yeah, we'll do it at the very end, because we are running out of time. So, but I think you're going to have a lot of people running after you today, right after the event. So you memorize how this guy looks and look for him. Thank you so much, Eric. That was
my pleasure. Thank you.
Very useful. It was reminiscent of the MBA classes that I went through, but this was way more detailed and way more sophisticated. So thank you again, Eric.
My pleasure.
And we are going to take a turn here, a different flavor.